Today morning here in the capital. My name is Michael Kofiodro and a warm welcome to Inside Pages. Wednesday, January 7, 2026 was a significant day in our historical, social and political calendar as the day marked a year of His Excellency John Dramani Mahame's swearing in as President of the Republic of Ghana in his second term. The day also was a commemoration of 33 years of constitutional democracy of the Fourth Republic. This morning we make time to review His Excellency John Dramani Mahame's first year in office as President of the Republic of Ghana in his second term, the highs, the lows, and the expectations in the years ahead. We'll also delve into 33 years of constitutional democracy under the Fourth Republic, the calls and the attempted review of the 1992 Constitution, and the major issues that have come with it. I remember the NPP's flag bearership race is set for January 31, 2026, and we'll make time to delve into all of that as well. The show is big on your views. Share your thoughts with us, your own review of His Excellency John Dramani Mahame's first year in office. Share them with us via our SMS and WhatsApp line and also across our social media platforms. Metro TV Ghana on Facebook, Metro TV GH on X, also known as Twitter, and our SMS and WhatsApp line 0533 292525, 0533 292525. This is Inside Pages, and I'm Michael Kofiodro. We do a quick break. We're right back with all the talking points.
Chia winning nara, me ding edge baby dapa, me dia sonko cran ebremo. Now the 20 animal with piano ed Japan me de bremo. And no any some spices. Some spices in here. And we wow no bebreo. Various flavors. Ubenya a yakko. Ubenya nemchi. You do good jollof muma emu yede. Ubenya ye do good kwan. You do good for yemu. Ho na ko pebito. Na Emma with piano. And yede. When you mean ya, you can your conco chian for eka.
Down your communication to you all enjoy Uduba, that Samu spices. One in the essence, don't fight. I'm going to get that. Samu spices in a Sabi, Daddy so say. Samu spices, Munsam.
Samu spices, Yama chicken.
Samu spices.
In Sanaka in Ketwa, measure 10 grams. Yawa chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, and jollof, and the flavors of Bebre.
Samu spices, yes, Saka.
FDRJ Jadien Kratuyatum.
In a world where security is paramount, peace of mind should be a necessity and not a luxury. This is why Virtual Security Africa has created a special discount package
up to 30% on our 4 and 8 channel high definition cameras.
We are more affordable now than ever.
With as low as 4,130 Ghana cedis,
you can get 4 high definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder.
With 6,440 Ghana cedis, you will get 8 high-definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder.
Why choose us? Because we offer top-tier quality you can trust, lifetime after-sales support, 2 years warranty, and you can view our systems remotely. Sidinua Peke. Spend less, secure more. Call us on 055 874 0764 and 050-331-4068. Virtual Security Africa. We will beat the advertised price of any security product of comparable quality.
The festive season is here again, and your most preferred estate partner is giving you 25% discount on land sale. Yes, for our Bronya Asase promo, Estate Masters is offering this massive discount for outright purchases. This includes free indenture, free site plan, and a free site visit. So what are you waiting for? Rush now and secure a plot of land while it is still hot. Reach out to us using the numbers below or visit our website at www.estatemastersgh.com. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
Today we gather not
Welcome back from the break. You're still live on Inside Pages with me, Michael Kofi Odro. Now, as we mark President John Dramani Mahama's first year in office, the president himself has reflected on his first year of his second term in office, stating that his administration has taken some difficult decisions and undertaken challenging reforms aimed at restoring Ghana's economy and rebuilding national confidence.
Year of President John Dramani Mahama in office in the NDC government, and we're here at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle to assess the performance of his government, and we're here to speak to some of the people around here just to find out what they think about the NDC government and the government actually taking care of Ghana from now on. So let's go out there and then have a conversation with them. Let's see the different views that we're going to get and what they think about his government. So let's go.
Yeah, he's doing well. He has done well. He has done very well in the sense that concerning, for instance, today, that even reduce a fuel again for us.
Okay.
If it were to be some cases, we're supposed to also do what? Reduce our prices. But that's not the case. That one is within our authorities over there. Okay. You get me? He's doing well. And everything it's now left with our market women. They should also what? Do the needy things. They're supposed to also reduce things. At the moment, if you come to Kolegono, for instance, around Kolegono, Kenke is around 7 cities. Why should it be so? Why should it be so? The thing was 5 cities. And today that things have come down, and then you are increasing things, which means if the citizen, you don't want, the goodness of we the mobrowers. You see, that's never good. But things are fine. If you go to the market now, you get everything coming down fine. Oil, rice, for instance. I, for one, I don't like rice. But my children this year, I bought rice for them in bags. You get me? So the 1 year of Mahama, he has tried upon all the, the difficulties. He has tried.
President Mahama have done so marvelous things. So as me, as a businessman, as I am selling phones here, he have done good thing. He have done good thing. So he need to celebrate because it's not easy. Because right now dollar is 10 cedi, 94 pesos. So the man need to be celebrated. He have done well. He have done well.
So is the dollar that is what is of your concern?
Oh, to me, it's not all because of the dollar, but you see, even the air we are breathing right now is cool. So the country have become, stable, no pressure, no stress right now for everybody. So the president is doing good. The president is doing good.
So far, so good. For the past 1 year, I'm very, very impressed with the economy. The fuel has gone down. The price of goods have gone down. In fact, things are going well. He should continue just as he's doing. We like it so.
But other people are saying that prices have not gone down, just the dollar that has gone down.
I don't agree with them. Rice has gone down, fuel has gone down. Almost everything has gone down so far. So I believe things are in order.
So you're happy?
Sure. Very, very well.
So we should celebrate him.
JM to us.
Everything is good. But I do all of them. So the people produce things in market. It didn't reduce anything. When dollar is going down. Everything is going down, but it didn't reduce the prices.
The prices of goods.
So,
even though the dollar has gone down.
Yeah, that's why that one is my problem.
That is where your problem is.
Apart from that,
everything is good.
Better.
But near they were from by scanning she didn't know. Near my board, dear, why are they from? But it says skin ho. Brilliant, a muye demai, medium who so. Man who so near money, dear, won't say, oh, you're near a more dear. I will from but sika ni hɔ.
Today we gather not as members of different faiths or political traditions, but as one people united in gratitude, humility, and reflection. Today we gather to give thanks. We give thanks for life, we give thanks for peace, and we give thanks for the opportunity to serve. 1 year ago, the people of Ghana entrusted this administration with a sacred responsibility to lead our nation through a difficult period, to restore hope, to stabilize our economy, and to reset the direction of our national development. Today is not a celebration of power. It is a moment of thanksgiving for the opportunity to serve the people of Ghana. Today is not a declaration of triumph, it is a reaffirmation of purpose. My fellow citizens, leadership is a privilege, but it's also a load we are asked to carry. And over the past year, we have come face to face with the weight of that load. Economic hardship, social anxiety, global uncertainties, and of course the legitimate expectation of our people. And yet through it all, God has stood by us. Our democracy has remained strong, our institutions have held their own, and our people have shown resilience, patience, and faith in the future of our beloved nation. And so for all this, we are grateful. First and foremost, to the Almighty God. We're grateful for His protection, for His peace, and the safety He has granted us. We're grateful to the men and women who wake up every day to keep this country moving. To our farmers, our traders, our workers, our teachers, our health professionals, our security personnel, our artisans, entrepreneurs, and our public servants. We're grateful to our traditional leaders and the clergy, our religious leaders, who continue to offer counsel, guidance, and moral leadership. We're grateful to our international partners, the diplomatic corps, for the work you do every day to promote bilateral friendship and international cooperation. We're grateful to Parliament and the judiciary for their constitutional roles in strengthening governance and accountability in our country. The year ahead will demand even more from us. It will test our resolve, our patience, and our discipline. But it will also offer us opportunities to deepen the reforms we have started, opportunities to accelerate our growth, and ensure that development and progress touches every part of our country. And so let us move forward with humility, let us lead with empathy, and let us govern with courage. And let us never forget that leadership is stewardship. It is temporary and fleeting. Authority is a fleeting trust held on behalf of the people.
The President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, made these remarks at a non-denominational Thanksgiving service held on Wednesday, January 7, 2026, to mark 1 year since he assumed office as President of the Republic of Ghana in his second term. Now, already with me in the studios is Nat G. Tete, who is the Eastern Regional Director, National Service Authority, and also a member of the government communications team. Good morning, sir, and thanks for the time.
Good morning, Michael.
I trust the year has started well with you.
Of course.
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everybody here at Metro TV and everybody else who is tuned in listening to us.
Okay. Remember that the show is also live on 94.1 FM for those of you in and around the Greater Accra region, some parts of the Eastern, Volta, and Central regions. We also have Dr. Kwame Asa Asante, who is a political scientist and head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, joining us via our Zoom platform. Good morning, Doc, and thanks for the time on Inside Pages.
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers and then listeners as well.
Okay. Akusua Menu, who is a special aide to Dr. Bawumia and the MPP's parliamentary candidate for the 2024 parliamentary elections for the Adentan constituency, is also expected to join us in the studios. But Nat, let me give you the first word. Before we get into the specifics, your general assessment of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's first year as President of the Republic in his second term.
And it's pretty much straightforward. I think that for the very first time in the history of the Fourth Republic, when we say that elections actually have consequences, Ghanaians have actually had the real-time opportunity to actually test that theory or that philosophy for themselves. And indeed, I believe that for those of us who were in Ghana in December 2024, and those of us who are still here in December 2025, the changes, the positive changes are obvious. We are feeling it in the prices of petrol. We are feeling it in our pockets. We are feeling it because families can afford 3 square meals. We are feeling it because for the very first time in many years, we actually have a president who cares, a president who places value and substance on his own word, a president who holds himself to a certain very high standard. Recently, the president was addressing a gathering, and he made a very profound statement that by the time his term ends in 2028, January 7th, 2029, his intention is to take leadership and governance of this country to an all-time high that would be so difficult for any other president coming after him to actually break. And that's quite an instructive, how do I put it, an instructive goal for an individual, a president, to set for himself. And so the changes are there for us all to see. This Christmas, of course, I believe that every home had something to feast on, unlike previous years where we didn't really see it. In fact, this is the first Christmas that Harmattan has gone so far away from us, because there's nothing dry in the atmosphere. Everywhere is moist and things are really good. So
but
for me,
how has that got to do with President Mahama?
No, I mean, it's all part of the wind of change, the positive wind of change that has blown. The president, over the 1 year period that he has been in office, has put in place certain commendable policies that have led to a radical stabilization of this economy. And when the economy is stable, everybody is happy. For the first time, when we say that the economy is actually stable, we are not talking in terms of the theoretical aspect of it. People can actually see it. The pumps, the fuel prices are down at the pumps.
Okay.
Nuisance taxes have been taken away. People work and they can actually have something to go back home with. And that is really what the wind of change is about. And so for me, I believe that it's been 1 year of excellent leadership from His Excellency the President, and I see a man who is determined to even do more in this second year. And I have no doubt that by the time the President's 4-year mandate ends, Ghana, the story of Ghana would have been so radically turned around from what we saw between the period of 2017 to 2024.
Okay, let me go to Dr. Kwame Asa Asante. Doc, Before we even get into the performance of the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for a proper assessment of a president in his first year, what do you think should be the measure? On what grounds should we measure whether the president has performed well in his first year or not? What should be the indicators?
Oh, actually, you have to look at it from certain perspectives.
Okay.
And obviously, one of the perspectives is what? The political perspective.
Okay.
You look at economic perspective and then social perspectives, right? This will give you a clear signal as to what you want to look at. Okay. One of the things, if you look at a political perspective, one of the things that we look at governance indicators.
Okay.
So if you really want to measure the performance of government, you want to check the governance indicators, i.e., you want to check levels of corruption in the country. And it's a function of what? Governance. You want to check what? Freedom, people's rights, human rights record. You want to check that. You also want to check what? Economic improvement of the people. It's a governance indicator. And of course, you want to check what? Freedom, media freedom, and the rest of them. Okay. So there are quite a number of things that you want to check, including what? Accountability. Is the government answerable? Is the government paying heed to what? Issues of accountability? How is the government taking all those things? When we come to the specifics, I have things to say about all of these
Okay,
things.
Doc, you've made it very simple. For you, there are three major indicators: the political, economic, and then social. Now, what's your own assessment, going by these three major indicators?
Oh, straight away, for the political issue, I want to look at issue of what, as I told you, governance, and the government, the president promises of what? Lean government. We are working with what? 60, and then because we lost our compatriots, we are now running with what? 58 ministers. Fine. I would have loved a situation where we have only 19 ministers representing ministers of state and regional ministers, but that's a different conversation. Yeah. But at least the president kept faith to the promise that he want to have a lean government, and we have that. That translates into what? Reducing the cost of financing these portfolios. And for me, that is one good thing. One other good thing is what? Issue of corruption, right? If you read the Transparency International report on corruption for 2025, they said, yes, we have sunk to what? 42%, right? Compared to previous records. Obviously, corruption, if you look at this government, we have not seen any corruption, not even a single one, major one, that has manifested itself. But at least behind the scenes, and those who collect data on corruption tell you that at least you can talk about 42%. Remember, Nana Akufo-Addo left us with what? 43%. The corruption perception index is that the closer you are to zero, the more corrupt your country is. Those who are closer to 100, the more clean your corruption record. So you see Denmark and Finland and Co, they are very close to 100. So if you look at compare, John Mahama's tenure, even the first time that he left office, he left with what? A low performance of 43. Today it's what? 42. It's an improvement over his last record of 43. Nana Akufo-Addo, throughout the 8 years, his best resource was Mahama's West, 43. So it gives you an idea that we are still not out of the woods yet, but at least it gives us hope that the government has been able to, within 1 year, we have not had any major corruption within the system, but at least within the public sphere and all that, there is what? Some level of corruption. That's why Transparency International captures that. One of the explanations, if you read the Transparency International reports, is that part of the corruption we see is what? The challenge that we have with Galamsey. Yes, it's creating a field for corruption and the rest of them. And government finds it difficult to deal with that. So that is one area. Another political area that I want to commend the government on is the issue of allowing for constitutional review. This thing, people have worked with the Constitution, we've seen the strength, weaknesses, and there was a need at a point in time to overhaul the Constitution so that we'll be able to use it to move the society along. Remember, Professor Mel started with the Fiajo report, and that was done. But if you look at this constitutional review thing, it has brought in a lot of things, Kwesi Prempeh's report, a lot of things that we are going to discuss and then help to shape the frontiers of our governance. For me, it's a good thing and all that. But if you look at this, the downside of it was that, look, this current president inherited the Fiajo report. One would have thought that the president would quickly, move in and then do justice with it. He didn't implement that report. And today we had to spend another resource to do another one. It is my hope and prayer that this one will never be, shoved under the carpet, and that you are going to work on it and then see to the implementation of this. For a positive thing about the political perspective I'm talking about, issue of accountability. Governance without accountability is empty. The people that we have given political power to must be answerable from time to time to account for the stewardship of their office. Remember that this country is signatory to the good governance agenda introduced by the World Bank in the 1980s. That if you're going to govern and govern well in terms of what the World Bank says in the area of good governance, one of the things you cannot lose sight of is the issue of accountability. That anybody who holds public office, a time should come for you to render public account. You should be able to do that. This government has taken some people on and they are in court to answer for the stewardship of their office. For me, it's a good thing. Because once you do that, you are sending a message that, yes, as for accountability is there, anybody can come in. The fact that also you have been accused doesn't make you guilty. So go and have your day in court, for me. But the downside of this accountability thing is that we've seen the Rambo-style arrest, detention, and a very huge bail conditions that makes it impossible for people to even get out of custodies and all that. I believe that that is a negative one, and government must be able to strengthen that angle. It's not the best. Much as I support accountability, but the process of getting that, they must also follow through the process that allow people to have opportunity to also express themselves in a way that the law says. In the area of bail condition, you and I know it has been so difficult. The arrest sometimes has been Rambo style, not the best, and all that. Issue of Galamsey. It is true that the government promised very well that it would deal with Galamsey. I have no doubt in my mind that the government has also put in its bit to deal with Galamsey. Look at the issue of, blue water guards, NIMOS, and then the renewed commitment on the part of government to fight Galamsey. There's no doubt about that. But the logical conclusion of it, we have not seen that. Because in recent time, we are seeing, the resurgence of the phenomena. We are seeing more in terms of our water bodies continue to be contaminated. We talk about turbidity levels. They are going higher than the government inherited. It tells you that there's a problem there. People have been arrested, but very few prosecutions have been seen. It's not the best. Central region today are complaining, some parts of central region, they don't have water, and people continue to buy water 5 cedis per gallon and all that. This is a sorry story, and the government must be able to put its foot down and fight this thing head on. The threat that Galamsey poses is a lot in terms of our crops, in terms of livelihoods, and in terms of even our health. It's too much that we believe that the government should put in a lot of energy. The issue about state of emergency and all that, it gives you an idea that the government just changed the goalpost, because what the government people promise, one would have thought that Once they got into office, state of emergency would have been introduced and all that. But events took a different turn. They came with a different story that even the president himself said that, no, we have not exhausted all the areas and all that. If you put all together ideas from people who are ministers today and part of government people, what they said when they were opposition, it gives you an idea that they did not plan and plan well towards the fight. We give them opportunity to plan now and make sure that they fight and fight well. Let me move on to issue of what? The economy. Yes, we have seen improvement in the economy. I must say I'm not an economist, but I'm a human being who lives in this country, and I also participate in economic activities of the country. I go to the market like any ordinary human being. I buy goods and services and all that. So if there is any pinch, I feel the pinch. Today, I can say without fear of contradiction that compared to what 2024, the last part of the previous regime, we have seen improvement in the economy. There's no doubt about that. You can access goods and services with lesser cost. Improvement we have seen in that way. Prices of fuel and other commodities, we have seen that. There's no doubt about that. The government move on to build on what? Taxes, by cancelling what the government regards as what? Nuisance taxes and all that. So as to what? Step up production in that direction. There's no doubt that we have seen this. I personally believe that some of the taxes shouldn't have gone out of the books, for instance, like e-levy, because it's the best way to be able to rake in resources to run the government. If you study political science, it will tell you issue about state capacity. One of its facets is that the ability of the state to generate its own resources to run its affairs. And if you are a country, you are not able to do that, then there's a difficulty. So when MPP was in office, I single-handedly, or I'm one of those people who supported e-levy, because we thought that it's one surest way by which government can generate revenue. But hey, this government promised in opposition that they would take it away. They took it away, no problem. But we were also shocked that they turned around to introduce, another levy in there. Though, then what's the point? The energy sector levy. For me, it is a good thing you have to deal with the problems of the energy sector. But why do you cancel one tax and only come back to introduce another? It becomes a robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that I didn't understand, even though the basis of that taxation, I understood it. Right. But fast forward, issue of inflation. If you look at it, they will tell you that any healthy economy is driven by what? A very low inflation. Today, we are talking about what? 5.4% in December, compared to previous, era where we ended the year in 2024, about 23.8% of inflation, right? Debt to GDP ratio, we have seen improvement in this government, and it gives you, compared to the previous one, but it gives you an idea that part of it also is the fact that government had gone into arrangement with what the World Bank, IMF, and there are certain measures that is also making it impossible for you to borrow and borrow more so as to inflate your bill. But we have also seen expenditure cuts, whether we like it or not is in, but it's also a function of what the World Bank also put in, that they will not allow you to spend recklessly. One of the things that I have observed as somebody who is also a student of political economy is that we are very much indisciplined in terms of our finances and all that. Expenditure, we tend to blow it up and then create all manner of problems. But we have seen fiscal discipline in this regard. The issue of continuity of government projects, for me, gladdens my heart. You are seeing that the Big Push program is promoting certain infrastructure development, the roads and what have you. All right, look at the Ofankor Kumasi Road is being continued by this government. This is what it ought to be, because the Constitution, per the directive principle of state policy, that any project done by government, the succeeding government must continue from where the previous one left off. Okay. We have a lot of buildings which are in the bush simply because a particular government doesn't want to continue from where the previous one left off. And this one, we are seeing a change in this direction, and I'm happy with. To summarize it, I'll go on the social briefly so that you come in. The issue, we are seeing the continued support for free SHS, a good policy by all standards, by what the MPP government. One, there were a lot of conversation that this government, when giving opportunity, they will cancel it. But today, the story is not true. The government is continuing and it's injecting a lot of resources to revamp the whole system and make the policy a success. All right. But my problem with the educational sector, relative to a policy that the government also has introduced, is the issue of licensure exam that the government has taken away. I believe that it's a good policy by the MPP. This government should have continued so that we sanitize the teaching of the subjects in our schools, and then also equip the teachers with the capacity to be able to deliver as expected of them. Of course, the issue of Agenda 111, the government continues, and for me, it's a good thing. We want more, and then we want to ensure value for money. Issue of Boku crisis, Akufo-Addo started, and Mahama has continued and taken the conversation a notch further, to the extent that invited Asante in, and today the story is out there for me not to recount it here. So all in all, we have seen some positive, some negative. But if you look at the two, there's more positive than negative. As a child of Oliver, I believe that we need more. We need more of the positive, and then the less of the negative.
Okay. Right. Doc, before I come to your score of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in his first year, in your latter submission, you mentioned your disagreement with the decision to cancel the licensure exam. What do we risk by abolishing that policy?
If you look at the professional bodies, from time to time, you renew your ability to be in that industry. Okay. All right. Teaching is a continuous process that we believe that continual exercise or continual process like licensure examination, where people prepare adequately, go and write, and then demonstrate to the world that they are still in business. For me, it's a good thing, because you have realized in this country that standards are going down. Recently, you saw WAEC results, and everybody was crying relative to issues such as the teaching of mathematics and all that. This country, sometimes we play the ostrich. There are problems and we run away from it and all that. Ask yourself that who are those people who teach mathematics in this country? And how many students are in our universities that they are students of mathematics? I want us to that's how to deal with the problem. Very few students are in the university studying mathematics. So you ask yourself, if you compare that one against the fact that we have more schools where people have to teach mathematics, who are those teaching mathematics? I can say without fear of contradiction that the time you realize there are people who are less qualified to teach mathematics who are in there because they have some level of education in mathematics, so they are pushed in there. The real scholars in mathematics, we don't have them. So these are some of the issues that licensure examination, if had been maintained, would have been able to deal with some of these things and all. It's very, very important that we do that. Like, who are those who build the foundation of our schools? Okay. All right. It is a very, very serious matter. Until recently, that we've seen effort to build the basics so strong and all that. When I was growing up, anything that somebody writes exam and he doesn't do well, people will tell you, oh, you go to training college. I'm sure you have heard that. So I'm not saying that somebody going to training college is not a good student, but you realize that people who go there, not all of them have the qualification that we want. So at the end of the day, we left the building of our education in the hands of a number of people who did not have the requisite quality to be there. And that problem has been there since time immemorial. The good news today is that there's a conscious effort on part of previous government and this government to look at some of these problems and deal with them head on. And it's my hope and prayer that they will be able to carry this discussion to its logical conclusion.
Okay. Doc, what will be your score for President Mahama in his first year if you had to do 1 to 100%?
Oh, obviously, I don't necessarily believe in the scoring. I do my analysis, what I call the vis-a-vis approach. Okay. Your strength, your weaknesses. But under the circumstance, I believe that what I have said the public is the best judge to be able to put a score on what I've said. Remember that I'm not seized with all the information.
But you are convinced that the positives outweigh the negatives?
Certainly. But to put a figure, I always want to restrain myself. But the positives are more than the negative. But we want more of the positive and less of the negative.
Okay. Now, what has been the major challenges for this government in the first year?
Okay. So, like Doc rightly said, there's a lot of policies that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has rolled out within this first year of his governance, some of which he has touched upon. President Mahama a few days ago mentioned that there's had to be certain difficult decisions that had to be taken in order for us to have the fiscal discipline to be able to stabilize our economy and keep our currency performing well. And so you would realize that the Ministry of Finance has been very disciplined in its approach to spending. The government is putting money only where it is necessary. We are not throwing money around into unproductive areas. Okay. Of course, that adaptation is always very difficult for people to actually imbibe. And so you would realize that initially it looks as though the ministry is not spending and all that, but far from that, the ministry is actually spending a lot. We are actually only spending on areas that have a direct benefit to the people of Ghana. The challenges of governance generally are not one-off. They come and go. Governance is a continuum, and government continues to look at the various policies and decisions that it's putting in place and continues to fine-tune it to ensure that all of them achieve the intended benefit. Recently, there's been a lot of brouhaha with regards to gold board and all of those things. It's one of the areas that are quite difficult to manage within the macroeconomic side of managing the economy. And so for us, we believe that the challenges keep coming, but like Dr. Asa Asante has mentioned, you would realize that the positives far outweigh the challenges. If you look at a government that has taken inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 down to 6.4% as at close of December 2025, is definitely something to be proud of. We are looking at a government that has implemented the no-fee stress policy for tertiary students in Ghana, where now first-year school fees for all tertiary students is actually free for every student in all tertiary institutions. And actually, for persons with disabilities, the entire 4-year period of education is actually free. It's actually something that President Mahama deserves commendation for. Like I mentioned, because the cedi has seen relative stability. You're talking of a president who inherited a currency that was doing about almost 15 cedis to the dollar as at January 2025, when President Mahama assumed office, managed to bring it all the way down, and today as we speak we are hovering around 10.5, 10.6 thereabout. I think it's something that is heavily commendable. These things do not happen in a vacuum. These successes that we are talking are happening as a result of people actually doing the work. The president actually made a commitment that he believed that this economy could be run by only 60 ministers. The president has stuck to that. Dr. Asa Asante gave an opinion that in his opinion, he thinks that the country can be run by 19 ministers or any other number. That is a fair point. Yeah. The important thing is that President Mahama made a promise to the good people of Ghana that he will keep it at 60. And currently we are doing around 58. Those are things to commend the government for. A president that actually walks the talk. Now we are looking at District Assembly's common fund has been uncapped, you know, ensuring that the funds allocated actually directly reach the district assemblies for developmental projects to be undertaken within the various district assemblies. These are all positives of the NDC government. Now, there are a few issues that Dr. Asa Asante raised in his submission, which I think we need to look at in perspective. Now, he mentioned that, for instance, he is of the view that the e-levy should have been maintained. And it comes to me as a bit of a surprise, because we all know the extent to which the e-levy policy by the erstwhile Akufo-Addo government was stifling the digital expansion of our economy. If you are sending money, if you are paid salary and the money, you move the money from your bank account to your mobile money, and you are sending, you've already paid tax on that money. And just by sending it to your younger brother or your son in school or your mother, you have to pay another tax. And if your mother also has to transfer it to your younger brother, they're also paying tax. Money that is not actually like income from, let's say, a business venture, but you're just the same money that is circulating. And so I find it very surprising that there will be a suggestion that it's a good policy, but
that's his opinion.
Yes, I agree.
Because you also mentioned the fact that these were, I mean, that was a major revenue stream for the country.
I agree. But if you look at it in terms of the overall benefit, policies must be implemented in order that the people within the country, the citizens, would actually feel the positive benefits of it, you see. And so, has there been challenges in managing the economy ever since we took e-levy off? No. The economy is in good shape. The economy is doing well. And so, I disagree with that. Now,
the president at the interdenominational Thanksgiving service on Wednesday mentioned that his government has had to take some difficult decisions. I don't know whether the abolition of the e-levy is one of those difficult decisions.
Well, clearly, every government needs money to run. You need revenue to run. And so for every revenue stream that you take out or you cut out, definitely there would be monetary consequences. Okay. And so, yes, I would say that taking not e-levy as a standalone, but taking in general some of the financial or economic decisions that the president has had to make, not only e-levy, because I believe that e-levy
so what are the other difficult decisions that the government has had to take?
For instance, for the first time, we are seeing that the president is taking a very tough stance on Galamsey, including known members of the NDC. The president has sanctioned investigations into activities of, alleged activities of leading members of the National Democratic Congress. Those are not easy things to do. These are people who put their blood, sweat, and toil. They put their lives on the line to bring you into power. And so these are all part of the difficult decisions that have had to be made.
These difficult decisions the president talks about, are these decisions that affects governance but makes the president popular, or decisions that lays strong foundation for sustainable governance and progress in the years ahead?
Now, let me make something clear. President Mahama has always made it clear to the people of Ghana that this second term is not about him. It's really about the people of Ghana. It's really about the economy. It's really about Ghana and moving Ghana forward. And so the president is not in a popularity contest with anybody. I don't think that the president is up for any beauty pageant competition or something. That indeed, this is his last term. He has told us categorically that he wouldn't be running again.
But
And
whatever he does, as a way of
if you could just let me
the next
conclude, Mike.
candidate of the NDC.
If you could just let me conclude. And so the president has no reason whatsoever to make himself popular over the overall benefits of Ghanaians. Every single policy that has been implemented, every single action that has been taken is well thought out in the supreme interest of the people of Ghana. And so everything has just been about the people of Ghana. And we are indeed seeing it. Is it the president's popularity that has led to reduction in fuel prices? No. Is it the president's popularity that has stabilized our currency? I believe no. Is it also the president's popularity that has moved inflation from about 23.8% to current 6.4%? Also no. And so it's really about dealing with the issues. Okay. The president is not interested in a contest of popularity. Like I said, he has been through elections in this country, and he's determined that this would be his legacy term, and he's indeed going to leave behind a good legacy.
I'll come back to take a look at some of the things the president and the government is criticized for: the Rambo-style arrest, the fight against Ghana.
Yes, and if you gave me time, I was going to address all of that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let our viewers know that we've been joined by Akosua Menu, who is former Deputy CEO of the National Youth Authority, also an aide to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and the MPP's parliamentary candidate for the 2024 elections in the Adentan constituency. Good morning, Akosua, and thanks for that.
Good morning, Kofi.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
Sure. We've been reviewing the performance of the President John Dramani Mahama-led NDC government, and then the first year.
Okay, so good morning to your viewers and my co-panelists. I thought we were going to be 3 this morning. I thought we were going to be 3.
Yes, the Dr. Asante joined us via Zoom.
Oh, okay. So it's been a year, I think this week officially.
Yeah, Wednesday,
7th of January, yes. And on Thursday, I was on set here.
Okay.
And there was a question on reviewing their performance. And I said, if it was based on what they said they would do exclusively, and that's not even my expectation, what they themselves said they would do, including what they campaigned on, their own promises, then there's a lot of questions to be answered.
Okay.
So their flagship policy was the 24-hour economy. And I don't see any outcomes in that. There are no tangibles, there's nothing. If it was something that they had achieved, knowing how big they are on branding, aka settings, would have seen a lot of fanfare and a lot of activities to acknowledge what they've done. In the last year, I only credit them with, the only tangible I credit them with is the pad distribution, the distribution of sanitary pads. That's the only tangible that I've seen, as far as their administration is concerned. And then my brother here spoke about the NAT, spoke about the economy, and said things along the lines of it's not necessarily President Mahama's popularity or his looks or whatever that's giving stability to the economy. And I know it's a very tricky conversation to tiptoe around, because the fact remains that the gold reserves program and the gold purchase policy that we implemented is what accounts majorly for the stabilization that we see now. The cedi's recovery, the appreciation of it, and this has been fact-checked, started in November before we exited power.
Okay.
One of the things that they have said countlessly is that we left the cedi at 17 cedis to a dollar, which is a falsehood. We left it to them at 14 cedis to the dollar. They haven't done anything different than just staying put and hoping that gold prices will not miraculously tank or something untoward will happen. And as we speak, as a country, the only commodity we are banking our lives on, this whole government is banking its life on its gold. They don't have any alternative ideas. They don't have any other solutions to actually complement the efforts they have. All they are riding on is what we implemented. Let's come to one of the things that, yes, I'm a member of the opposition now, but one of the things that found expression in their manifesto, which was also a consideration from us as well, is the Women's Development Bank. A year on, there's nothing on the Women's Development Bank, as in what's the status currently? What are they going to do to the over, as at 2020, there were over 9 million women, okay, and this is close to 9 million. It was actually 8.8 million women who registered to vote running into the 2020 elections. So if we rack up the numbers now of women of voting age, I'm sure we've literally crossed 9.5. There are so many women entrepreneurs who, when it comes to access to finance for their businesses, they have a challenge. Despite all that we did, using institutions like Maslock, for instance, Ghana Enterprises Agency had exclusive programs for women as well, among others. A policy or a program or an intervention by them, which was a lot of noise, again, a year on, I haven't seen anything to that effect. In his own cabinet, the president said he was going to give at least 30% of women in his own, to be women in his own cabinet. That didn't materialize. What we did see was the sacking of the former CJ, which was a campaign promise, and which he actually fulfilled, which is actually a stain in our history. He also promised to scrap ex gratia by 2025. It hasn't happened. That was a promise. One of the things that they made a lot of noise on was recruiting of teachers. In fact, the Minister of Education announced that we're going to employ 50,000 teachers by the end of 2025. Where are the teachers? Have they been gainfully employed? 50,000 of them, as promised by the Education Minister, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. 50,000 by end of 2025. What is today's date?
Today's 10th.
So that's a broken promise already. So remember they said a no fees stress. And there's a conspiracy theory that they intentionally failed WASSCE students to reduce the numbers that would actually get into university, so that they reduce the burden on them as far as that policy is concerned. And Nat is here. I don't think that Nat, if he's really a part of the NDC, would encourage that they fail students just so they don't qualify to advance their education. There was a promise to decentralize food supply. They failed. They gave it to the head teachers to actually manage. Again, if we get into the nitty-gritties of it, Galamsey is actually the worst. Why is Galamsey the worst? It's because in the President's Meet the Press encounter, when he was asked a specific question on illegal mining, the whole country stood in awe, not in his brilliant answer, but by the fact that he said literally there was no other alternative. The fight against Galamsey is but a facade, it's a charade, and we've seen the numbers. Again, we've seen that Gold Board is primarily funded by Galamsey activities, and that is fact. I remember the president said he was going to use AI to fight Galamsey. Is that happening? I doubt it. Are NDC members involved in Galamsey? They are. From DC's constituency chairman, rank and file of the party has representation in Galamsey. Have those people been brought to book? In fact, some of them boldly stated on radio that they were going to do it and nothing else. Did we not see their own party members invade concessions trying to seize it? Didn't we see the clashes between the military and their own party members and security personnel? It happened. So if we are going to talk about all these things that have happened under a year, there's been no update on any of these investigations, even though their own persons were brazenly involved in these activities. So a year on, the verdict is, I would say, is in the hands of the good people of Ghana. What they themselves promised, even if I was to ring-fence their own party followers, I doubt that they are impressed by it. And there's a lot of despondency because even within the government, ministers are not getting their budgets. Ministers cry inside in their homes and offices because the Honorable Minister of Finance is not paying attention to them. So ministers have not achieved much. If we were to go ministry by ministry, you'll be rating them 5/100. Because the tools and the support needed to execute their agenda is not there. The commitment is not there because they just don't have any ideas to push it forward. So this is but just a year. And if in the first year, this is your false start, only God knows what will happen in 2026. When bonds are maturing, there's $1 billion, literally $1 billion that they have to make commitments to. And that is going to heat up the economy. We're going to see a lot of pressure, and only God knows how they are going to manage this. So a year on, I am not. The only thing I said I'm very excited about is that the programs that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia championed and implemented, those policies, they saw the need and the logic to keep them going, and that is for that reason that the economy is seeing the gains that it's seeing today.
Okay. Nat, I'm sure you have a few reactions from
Yes.
establishment, right?
Yes. I mean, first of all, it's interesting to learn that ministers under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama have found a worthy mouthpiece in my sister Akosua here to trumpet their concerns for them to the extent that they are not getting funding and all those other things to run their ministries. But we know that all of those things are just pedestrian politics. And now to deal with the real issues. The first thing she touched on the 24-hour economy. And let me begin by rehashing that generally everybody agrees that the country is on a certain path to where we should actually be within our place in Africa. Except for...
Since you want us to deal with the specifics.
No, Mike, you want me to address the issues, please. If you interject me, then our listeners are not...
But we must be conscious of the time, otherwise we will not be
That's
able
fine,
to
so I'll go straight
the
to the issues. She touched on 24-hour economic promise.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Has that started?
The 24-hour economic promise was a flagship promise made by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, then the flag bearer for the NDC. And I believe that the president never said that the 24-hour economy, the full effects of it were going to be seen from January to December in 2025. The president has a 4-year term.
But since that was your flagship campaign promise, that was, I mean, most of your messages were centered around the 24 hour.
We said
people have got high expectations.
We said we were going to immediately take away betting taxes within the first 100 days in office. Did we do that?
Did
the president at any point commit that within the first 12 months of his governance?
So has the 24-hour economy started?
You know so well that the 24-hour economy secretariat has been established, headed by the astute Mr. Guzitano, and they are working assiduously.
At what stage are we?
It has been established. The secretariat, which is supposed to oversee and implement the policy on behalf of government, has been established. And so to say that the 24-hour economy, we haven't seen anything on it and all that.
But have we?
I don't think we are being...
Have we seen it? Have we rolled out the policy?
The policy, in terms of what? The secretariat has been established.
Yeah, but the secretariat is not the policy.
You see, the NDC has a different approach to the MPP.
Okay.
We are not known for rushing policies just to get us popularity within the media and all that. Akosua mentioned something about settings. if we want to talk about settings in this country,
let's not go there. Let's
no, we'll go there because she went there, but you didn't.
See,
But
it was not something she dwelled
but
on.
you didn't. You didn't interject.
Economy outcome.
You see, you're interjecting my submission. When she was speaking, I was quiet. I listened. You were quiet as well.
But also, if you be fair, in your first submission, I allowed you. You spoke for more than 15 minutes without any form of interjection. But now we've got to deal with specifics. I mean, the first one, the opening.
So if we are dealing with specifics, my point on the 24-hour economy is that nobody can say that the 24-hour economy has not been implemented. There are initial pipeline works that have to be done so that we don't implement it and in our bid to just claim a certain accolade or a certain popularity, like they did with their haphazard implementation of free SHS.
Okay, I'm asking a very simple question. Has the policy been implemented?
If you say has the policy been implemented, yes, the policy has been implemented. The body
So
that is
what have we done with
hold on. The body that is supposed to oversee the on-ground implementation of the policy has been established. The body is working. The president has a 4-year mandate. The president did not promise at any point in time that between February and January, all companies or all businesses in Ghana were going
I don't know, but
the passport office is running the 24-hour schedule as we speak. The Ghana port, the Tema port, is running a 24-hour schedule. Is it all not part of it?
So
it's all part of.
If I go to the passport office at midnight, would there be officers there? Would there be staff members of the passport office working, ready to?
You can put in your application for your passport. You can check the status of your passport on their websites at every point in time. You see, Mike, we don't have to trivialize the issues.
No.
President Mahama's 24-hour economy promise, right, was not to advance his own, like you put it, your word of the day, popularity. No, it's really for the benefit of Ghanaians. And so if we are implementing it, we will take our time and implement it. Ghanaians voted overwhelmingly for the president on December. If you can let me conclude, the president has a 4-year term.
Yeah.
And he never stood anywhere to say that, by end of December we are going to see everything spring up and everything with the 24-hour economy is going to be in place. He never said. He said, give me a 4-year term, and by the time my term ends, I'll make it a 24-hour economy for the benefit of Ghanaians. And so on 24-hour economy, that's what I have to say. You say we don't have time. Akosua again mentioned that she was expecting by now there will be some fanfare around the 24-hour economy.
No, that you misquoted me.
Well, that is what you said.
No, that's not what I said. I said if there were,
maybe her party is known to be in the business of fanfare.
No,
without actually.
I'm here. You don't know. So don't misrepresent what I said.
I remember Akosua saying is that you are good with branding, and that if the policy had been implemented
and was successful and had outcomes, tangible outcomes, you would celebrate it.
So how does a president have a 4-year mandate? He has done 12 months. He didn't promise you that within 12 months I will do the whole thing, and then you are marking him after the first year. Is it fair?
Not.
Okay. Yes.
So if you're asking that if a president has a 4-year mandate and has not implemented his flagship policy,
you cannot say that he hasn't implemented. Has the 24-hour economy been secretariat been set up?
A secretariat is not enough. Now let me say,
it's not the policy.
Are you the one? I are 2 people controlling the program.
No, but let me just.
She's only making a
no, but
I'm asking the question.
But I think you're not fair. You're not
okay.
Kofi, it is not fair.
Let me respond.
You are allowing Akosua to interject me. You are also interjecting.
No, because once you rebut and you misrepresent what I say, then I have a right to also reply.
My point really, Akosua, is that the 24-hour economy, on that issue, the president has a 4-year term.
Okay.
And we will score him at the end of his term. And we will see then whether Ghanaians think that 24-hour economy has been implemented or not. Now,
okay.
Now, she talks about the government has not been doing well, that there's galamsey, and there's all that.
Women's Development Bank.
Which government, I'll touch on that as well. Which government in this country has been known to have notoriously given so much legitimacy to Galamsey in this country than Mr. His Excellency Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia's government? Galamsey became so rampant that day in, day out. Look, we were importing excavators in huge numbers. Within the first 1 year of His Excellency President Mahama's government, we are seeing the challenges. Measures have been put in place at the port, where currently every single excavator that comes into this country is being tracked. We know where it's going to. We know exactly for which purpose it's going to be used. The DVLA is stationed at the port, licensing the excavators before they even get into town, because we do not want them to get on the fields there, and then they are using it to mine under people's bedrooms and people's kitchens, as we saw under the MPP government. This is a government that has put in place the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, which has chalked certain highs. By the time we took over office in January 2024, there were 9 forest reserves. Mike, there were 9 forest reserves that had been characterized as red zones. In fact, of the 288 forest reserves that we have in Ghana, 44 of them had been taken over by Galamseyers under the watch of Mr. Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia. What was done by the previous NPP administration about it? Nothing. In fact, in 2024, long before the elections, Mr. Akufo-Addo in public told us that he had done his part, and so he believed that whatever whoever was coming after him would come and continue. The president had actually checked out several months, even before the election, and so I don't think that Akosua or any member of the MPP has any moral high ground to question NDC on issues of Galamsey.
But the citizens have got the right.
No, but is the president taking action on it? Yes.
Okay.
I take exception to his Galamsey comment, and I'm asking to respond to what he said on Galamsey.
You're still live on Inside Pages. We will do a quick break. When we return, Akosua would have the floor to react to what Nat has been saying. We'll also have Dr. Hassan Ayayega, the founder and leader of the APC, join us via our Zoom platform. We're back shortly after this break.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwaba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enyi. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare nyina wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby coat. In fact, bibia opama omanyina obenye biwa ase.
Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059 6377 172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye bye.
Chichi woni nara mi din David Dapa me dia de sonko kra na ebremo nya ode to aduane mu ama waduane Dapa na me de bremo eno any some spices de emu wa wo bebre o various flavors ubenya eya akoko ubenya nantwie yedi ku jollof mu ma emu ye de ubenya yedi ku nkwan mu yedi ku froye mu ho na ko pebito na ema waduane enye de unyimi nia yenkoni konko tie nyankofo eka
Download your communication to enjoy Oduba, that Samu spices. One in the essence, don't fight. I'm going to give Dariaga. Samu spices in a sa BTA. Daddy so say. Samu spices. Mun Samu.
Samu spices. Nyama chicken.
Samu spices. Nsaka in Ketwa, measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, can jollof, any flavors. Alpha Bebre.
Samu spices. Yes, Saka.
FDIJ Jadien Kratwayatu.
Never dispose of ashes or fire into dustbins at the market or homes. You could start a fire outbreak, endangering both lives and properties. Use the dustbins for your waste and garbage only.
Today we gather not as members of different faiths or political traditions.
Welcome back from the break. You're still live on Inside Pages with me, Michael Kofi. The show is big on your views with your thoughts. Welcome through our social media platforms, Metro TV Ghana on Facebook, Metro TV GH on X, otherwise known as Twitter. And you can also do a simple SMS or WhatsApp message via 0533-292525, 0533-292525. Still with us in the studios, Akosua Menu and aide to the MPP's flag bearer for the 2024 elections, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And then also we have here in the studios Nat G. Tete, who is the Eastern Regional Director for the National Service Authority and also a member of the government's communications team. Akosua, before the break, you had a few reactions to make.
So Nat is gainfully employed. It's good to know within the government. It's good to know that. Nat, in conclusion, was not able to validate the success of the implementation of the 24-hour economy. Note that as Nat says here, at the National Service Authority, Nat, he who calls for equity should come with clean hands. You said heckling. You didn't like heckling.
That indeed the president has 4 years.
Nat, let me finish. You said he has 4 years.
But I'll come back.
The president, time and repeatedly during his campaign, stated how the youth were being attracted to the party. The same youth he said he was going to create job opportunities for. But you say here, looking into the faces of your party people who are still looking for jobs, looking into the face of Ghanaians who necessarily don't even have to belong to any side, who deserve to have jobs, that the president has the luxury of taking his time to implement a policy.
That again is not correct.
Jobs are as important as anything. Your flagship policy was the 24-hour economy, and it said 1-3-3, 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. Was that what they said? So that if I hadn't known he was employed, I would have said he qualifies to be a CEO at YE. So when Basintali gets off at 11 a.m. in the morning, he Nat can take over and can exit in the afternoon by 2 p.m. for another person to take over.
Is that to suggest that then we also need 3 presidents? One in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening.
That's the question you should answer. Let's be serious about campaign promises. Don't say here and trivialize what you said. You said you were going to create opportunities for young people. And here on, you are telling us that the president has the luxury of taking his time to implement a policy, which he told Ghanaians he was going to do. You told us that you have the luxury of hindsight now. Why? Because we just exited.
When you go to countries where they are running a 24-hour economy, the owner of the company. Do we have 3 owners just because they are doing 3?
Did you know this before you championed 1
And so to say that
did you
the
know this
president-
before you championed 1
the NPP
Was this
the
basic
NPP
logic
are gasping
not
for
lost
breath.
on you when you
You
championed 133? Was it not?
But if we say 133,
Where are the
doesn't mean
jobs
that-
for the
doesn't
young
mean that
people
the
a
logic of
year
it is
on?
that if you are a CEO,
Where
there will
are
be
the
3
jobs
CEOs.
for the young
There will
people
be
a
3
year
CEOs.
on?
Really?
Now,
Did the
let me
president ever
educate
promise
you
that?
some more. Let me
Did the
educate you
president
some
ever
more.
promise
You
that?
promised
Did the
850,000
president ever promise that? And she's making a
850,000
suggestion
jobs.
that we have not been successful with the policy.
Where are the
After
jobs?
1 year, and you are listening. Meanwhile,
Nat,
as
where
we
are the
speak,
jobs?
every district assembly has been tasked to construct.
You are gainfully employed.
Has been
What
tasked
about your people?
To construct
What about your
a
people?
24-hour
Those
market
following you right now.
in every district
Where are
in
their
Ghana,
jobs?
across all 2 cities.
You can keep interjecting. The fact still remains. You have not implemented the policy.
The policy
You can-
has been implemented.
The
The
same
president did
interjection.
not promise
Use
you
that same intensity
that within
to put
12
pressure
months
on
of his
your
government, we are
government
going
to
to see the full
provide the
benefits.
jobs they promised the young
You cannot
people.
sit here and make such
I will
representation.
sit here and make
Has
that
the president failed to
representation.
take
He
action
has
on the
failed
24-hour economy?
on the 24-hour economy.
If
He
that
has.
was the case, I wouldn't say anything.
You
The
have
president,
failed to convince us.
25% of the district assembly's common fund has been allocated to the construction of 24-hour markets. And we sit here and say that the president has not implemented 24-hour economy.
Okay, now hold on.
Oh, so there are 24
Do we have
markets.
1 year?
So there are
Does the
24
president have a
hour
1 year
markets.
term?
So there are
Does the
24
president
hour
have a
markets.
1 year term?
There are 24 hour
Does the
markets.
president have a 1 year
You are
term?
saying there are
Does the
24 hour
president have a
markets.
1 year term?
Show me where the 24 hour
Akosua,
markets
there
are. Show
Akosua,
me where the
does the
24
president
hour
have a 1 year
markets
term or he
are.
has a 4-year term?
Show me where the 24
Go
hour
and
markets
ask
are.
your district assembly whether funds have not been allocated to them for the
So
construction.
let
Did I
me
say that?
inform you.
I did not make any point at any point here.
Your microphone is off. Whatever point you're making is not going on there. Now, Akosua, let me.
You said no, Kofi. Let me say something.
No,
You said
Akosua.
the president has a mandate of 4 years. When the president takes its people, especially the young people, seriously, he will know that implementing the 24-hour economy in the first year, we took the Ghanaian people seriously when we implemented free SHS in the first year. You can shout and you can scream that the fact still remains that
in a
you have
government
not
where there were 120
implemented what you
ministers,
said
including
successfully.
people who had gone on retirement and they had been
Where are
recalled
the
from
24
comatose
hour
retirement
markets? You are
to
saying
come and head
24 hour
institutions, while young people like you,
show me where the 24 hour markets
hold on.
are. Show me where the
Were
24
there?
hour
Did
markets are.
Akosua Menu not qualify to become a minister of
where the
Ghana
24 hour
under the leadership of
Nat
Mr.
made the
Kufuor?
point
He
earlier.
went to bring his
Nat,
own
please
friends,
hold
friends
on.
and
Nat,
cronies.
no, please, I will not take this from you.
You can
Akosua,
scream and shout, but he cannot
Akosua,
outrun
Nat
or
made the
outshout
point
the
earlier
fact
that
there's no
this is the
outcome to
flagship.
24 hour
This is the flagship policy
Yeah.
of the president, and that would it not be ideal to take the necessary time and structure the policy well so that its implementation will be successful rather than rush it in the first year?
So if that is the question, then it means what they were packaging to us as a campaign promise was just something to get into the seat of power. If we are to compare, and he was saying that the free SHS was shambolic. Yes, they haven't cancelled free SHS. What have they even done better as far as free SHS is concerned? You campaign on a promise of a 24-hour economy. You campaign on a shift. One job, 3 people, 3 shifts. Giving people the impression that you are going to create opportunities for them. And a year on, he sits here to tell us that doesn't the president have a 4-year mandate?
Okay.
So it means that they do not take the policy as seriously as they said they would. Beyond that, I gave you other campaign promises that they said they were going to implement. The Women's Development Bank.
Okay.
That in itself will create opportunities for people. Women who have challenges with access to financing will get capital to run their businesses. They can expand their businesses, thereby creating opportunities for people as far as employment is concerned. So when he sits here to rubbish what he himself promised, because he's sitting here as a mouthpiece of the government at this moment to tell us that the president has a 4-year mandate. At which point is he going to implement it for it to be successful?
Okay.
Now, they have promised 850,000 jobs. In fact, those jobs, we have to come back to it and ask, where are those jobs? At least the previous government, the 2 million jobs that we spoke of, we gave a breakdown of those jobs.
Okay.
So even if you say that a policy is not perfect, or you say that it takes time, it is not just about the time, it's about the seriousness of the commitment or the promise you made to the people.
Okay.
And there are young people looking at persons like him to make a case for them, not to give a leeway to the president to take his time to come and give responses as to why he has not implemented the policy.
Okay. Akosua, your point is well made. Let's get onto our Zoom platform where we understand that Dr. Hassan Ayaga is off, but we hope to get him back on our Zoom platform. Nat, you have the time to make your reactions.
Okay.
And the Galamsey bit, I had to respond. I missed out on there because he was going back.
Okay. All right. And so the
Nat,
point...
quickly, so that I can move. Dr. Asasari is on Zoom
I understand.
platform.
So the point remains that 24-hour economy policy is in its implementation phase.
Okay.
And the president will deliver on his mandate.
Okay.
In fact, we expect that by the end of this year, 2026, the 24-hour secretariat would have transitioned into the 24-hour authority. Okay. The markets that I've spoken about, all the various projects under the policy would have been starting to take shape, and would come back here and see it. But to suggest that it has not been implemented...
How are we going to be facilitating? It sounds exciting. The 24-hour market sounds exciting. But
it is exciting.
How are we going to facilitate that market? Are we going to...
No, basically, it's they are community, because you see, you don't want to implement the policy only at the macro level, at the national level, and then those on the grounds, those like myself who live in my village in Somanya, we don't actually feel it. Okay. And so the president is saying that operationalize it in within the various districts, and we'll see that begin to take shape by the end of the year. Now, she touched on Galamsey and made certain comments, and we, I
didn't. So you rebutted, and I didn't actually get my response on that.
Okay,
so.
I mean that's fair. But however, she made a suggestion that the rank and file of NDC were involved in Galamsey. She has nothing to prove that. Every single time that a certain allegation has been made against any officer or member of the NDC, the president has taken decisive steps. Is that something that she can say about Dr. Bawumia and Mr. Akufo-Addo? In which government can a certain president order investigations into the activities of national officers of his own party? And so these issues about Galamsey, everybody knows what is going on the grounds, unless we don't want to be honest with ourselves.
We will come to the issue of Galamsey, but let me get onto our Zoom platform where we speak to Dr. Kwame Asasari, who is a political scientist and head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante. Doc, let me come back to you. Is it acceptable? We've been having contrasting views when it comes to the implementation of the 24-hour economy, but is it acceptable that the government, we've not seen evidence of the government's flagship program in its first year?
Oh, you see, policies do not start, they start in a day, but they do not blossom in a day. Preparatory works are done, then you go into full gear, you introduce a policy, you implement the policy, you evaluate the policy and see whether the policy is yielding results. So for me, it's a long haul, but all that you need to see is preparatory steps. Are they being taken to throw in the policy?
But
Doc,
are we seeing that preparatory steps?
We are hearing things. No, we've heard about the secretariat that has been put in place to, move into the full gear. I have also heard about the markets. There may be more, maybe I've not heard about them. But what I'm saying is that, I don't want us to look at a policy that you introduce today and the next day you are there. No, look at the 3 SHS. It is true the government moved into full gear, started implementing, but we saw that as they move along, certain things were added on. The ship system, buildings were put up, and all those. That's how policies are done. So I don't want to go into that conversation where we want to see a policy introduced today, and tomorrow there is what? The end of it has blossomed. No, policies do not work like that. You shepherd it over a period, and then you follow the process. You assess them as to whether the viability of the policy and all. So if you study the policy cycle, it's a tall order. Yeah, but I can move into other areas. This is what I can say about the 24-hour economy.
Okay. But Doc, all you seem to be aware of is the things you have heard. But that is to suggest that we may not have seen anything monumental. Is it enough after 365 days?
No, but you cannot condemn the government on this, that the policy has not been done. Yeah, all that you want to see is that something must start, and then there must be effort to see more as you progresses, and then remember you are working within the framework of time.
Okay.
Remember, no party has been able to implement all the things in their manifesto. Let me just remind you about some of the things. The previous government told us that we're going to have a Pualugu Dam. Where is the dam? Where is the dam? Pualugu is a major, policy that if it were implemented was going to deal with two important things: irrigation of the north. All right, there are a lot of our lands in the north that the raiding patterns in the north, that was going to help us a lot. Pualugu was also going to help us to deal with the flooding that threatened Akosombo Dam, because once you do that, you contain some of the water before you spill the rest to Akosombo, then on to pump and all that. But we didn't. But me as a student of politics, I realized that I know that not all policies can be introduced and then implemented. But of course, I also understand that your flashy program, people want to see you move full gear in, and then we see the implementation and all that. I think the policy secretariat should be in a better position to give us more information on that. I am always careful about when I'm looking at people's policies and all that, because I know that there is a certain gestation period and all that. But when you come to the end of your regime and we have not been able to see that, then we can make a lot of noise about that. But also, we cannot also wait in perpetuity when you don't start anything. So it's a whole complex matter, but I know that policy cannot be started in a day and then the next day or two or within a year. Yes, there are some policies that can be done within a short time and you can see results. Others will take a long time or some reasonable time for you to see the full effects of all that. But remember that no government has been able to implement all the things in their manifesto. There is none. There is none under the sun.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc, for your time this morning on Inside Pages. We really appreciate your time and contribution. That was Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist and head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Legon, joining us on our Zoom platform. But that will be all with Doc for this edition of Inside Pages. Now, coming back to you, Akose, and moving from the 24-hour economy to the issue of the fight against Galamsey. You mentioned that you do not see any meaningful efforts from the government in the fight against Galamsey, but there are those that have cited the formation of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations, the NIMOS, and also the repeal of LI 2462, which either to give powers to the President to authorize mining in our forest reserves. Are these not enough efforts from government in the fight against Galamsey?
Thank you, but just because Prof brought Pualugu Dam in and made it seem as if nothing at all, nothing at all was done. Sword cutting was in 2019. Project was estimated to cost almost $1 billion. Again, that the size and scope and what it was intended for is not as simple as a footbridge somewhere or a crossover or a flyover somewhere. In 2025, when, and we all know the challenges that government went into after post-COVID and during COVID, where it had to streamline resources amongst other things. And other major projects had to take a backseat to prioritize the lives of people. Long story short, they came into power, terminated the contract in 2025, and at this moment, they claim they are rescoping it. And they have 4 years. Let's see if they'll also prioritize it like they claim to prioritize all other things. When it comes to Galamsey, the persons claiming that party people are engaged in Galamsey in government are not NPP members.
Okay.
We saw Yamin and Mustafa Gbande, who were literally accused of engaging in Galamsey, take to radio stations and TV stations to to defend themselves and even sent a warning that if people want to use them as an agenda, they are actually going to expose the real architects behind it.
Okay.
If it were not persons within themselves to protect their own party, I'm sure they would have gone to town mentioning all the names. If it was MPP people, they would have mentioned all the names. So this allegation is not coming from MPP people. It's NDC people saying so. Their voice, their interviews, Ashanti region, the NDC chairman, I'm trying to remember his name, who stated that he's not going to stop today or tomorrow. Now, when he talks about the fight against Galamsey, the only president who banned illegal mining, actually small-scale mining, who put a stop for months, 22 months, was Nana Akufo-Addo. 22 months. The only president who boldly looked in the face of his party. One party people were screaming that, okay, let's not confuse legal mining with illegal mining. He said, no. Let's look at the water levels. The worst water, the turbidity level, the worst in the history of this country, happened in 2014. 2014 to 2016. Who was president then? That's the president now, John Dramani Mahama. The worst turbidity level. I still have the report. So if we are going to trivialize things, the trivialization ends at your doorstep because you started it. And if there's a real fight, then ban it like we did and sit back and reorganize it. Because at the end of the day, the justification for illegal mining, and let me say that the president has legitimized illegal mining because in meeting the press, he said the difference between what existed then and what it does now is that at least we are the ones taking charge of it, and it's not going to any foreigners or what's not. If this is not legitimizing it, what is it? So let's not be confused as to who is the champion of Galamsey. It will never be on the doorstep of Nana Akufo-Addo. And let me let you know, the first time excavators came into this country by a whopping 300 was under the NDC. 300 excavators first made its appearance. Before Galamsey was hoes and axes and pickaxe. Those were the tools we were using. 300 excavators landed under one president's tenure. And you have endorsed him again. And today he's saying he's legitimized it. In a few months' time, let's look at the turbidity levels again. The worst of its kind was under his administration. And it will never be under the MPP. And yes, we know we lost. We know. But the buck stops with you now. The things you said you would do. It doesn't matter whether it's a 4-year mandate or not. The things that need to take priority. The Women's Development Bank, the 24-hour economy, the 133 policy should kick in. Because when it kicks in, the young people deserve jobs. They don't have to be MPP or NDC. They deserve jobs. You promise them jobs. You promise 850,000 jobs. It hasn't shown. And this was in the first year. We haven't seen it anywhere. I don't know how it's going to manifest. And now we're in a new year. The things you say you do, just do them. No excuses. If you know there's a 4-year mandate, use that same intensity and that same dedication and focus to ensure that you meet your campaign promises. At least for the first year in the MPP's administration, when a verdict, a strict proof was put to our manifesto, the media scored us at least 74%. If that is not a glowing scorecard, then I don't know what is.
Okay. Nat, now let me come into you. The opposition has had reasons to criticize the government for what they describe as the lack of will to fight Galamsey. And while you were in opposition, you thought the best way to dealing with Galamsey was the declaration of state of emergency. But we've heard the president say that he's here to exhaust all the mechanisms, so we end up declaring state of emergency. But my question is, if you know that state of emergency is what would deal with the issue of Galamsey head-on, why must we wait until we have exhausted all the processes and mechanisms?
Okay, so let me first of all begin on that point by saying that it is a known fact, whether or not we dispute it in this studio, that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has shown the biggest commitment to the fight against Galamsey. The president does not like Galamsey. The president is not against legal small-scale mining.
Okay.
The president is against Galamsey, which destroys our water bodies, which end lives, and which causes deformities among our young ones in rural settlings. Now, to your question about the fact that the state of emergency, let me put it on record, and it's a propaganda that NPP have peddled for a very long time. We have always thought that a state of emergency is one of the options available to us to end the menace of Galamsey. At no point did His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, then candidate John Mahama, ever promise that his first point of call will be a state of emergency. The president has never said that. And if there is any evidence or proof, whether written or audiovisual, sorry, I mean, you can hold me to that proof. The president has never said that. However, that is not an excuse, because we are not a party or we are not a government of excuses like our friends on the NPP. Just as a while ago, Akosua was giving us all kinds of excuses about the Palugu Dam and all those things, even though it is on record that they paid $11.9 million to the contractor for no work done. We are not like that. We are not a government of excuses. The president, like I said, has taken decisive action. Currently, all excavators coming into the country are tracked right from the port and licensed before they even move. And so we know where each excavator is going to. That is one of the steps that we have taken. We have also repealed the law that made it possible to even be able to mine in forest reserves. The LI 2462 has been repealed. And as I speak, steps are being taken to actually amend the entire Minerals and Mining Act to ensure that permanently mining in forest reserve areas becomes a thing of the past, and we never have to revisit that chapter in our lives as a country. The president understands that the fight against Galamsey is both governmental and also collaborative. Now, why do people do Galamsey? A lot of the studies around Galamsey have suggested to us that a lot of people within these areas actually go into Galamsey because there are no alternative livelihoods. It's one of the issues. And so the government, President Mahama's government, has come up with the responsible community mining development and entrepreneurial program, the RCOMSDEP, which is addressing those issues and finding alternative livelihoods for our compatriots who have had to find solace in Galamsey because of the lack of employment opportunities, to ensure that they are not towing that path. Again, the president has realized that, so there's a licensing regime around mining and mining activities. And the president has thought that one of the ways to deal with it would be to decentralize. And so we are decentralizing the licensing regime for the acquisition of small-scale mining licenses to the district levels, so that somebody who wants to do mining at the community is not discouraged by the laborious legal processes involved with getting a license, that they can actually go to the Minerals Commission office within their districts and be able to get that. These are all policies that...
What would be the impact? What would be the impact of this policy on the fight against Galamsey?
We expect that by the time President Mahama's term ends, and we are actually actively working, we are not saying that we are waiting till 2028, but by the time President Mahama leaves up.
In a world where security is paramount, peace of mind should be a necessity and not a luxury. This is why Virtual Security Africa has created a special discount package up to 30% on our 4 and 8 channel high definition cameras. We are more affordable now than ever. With as low as 4,130 Ghana cedis, you can get 4 high definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. With 6,440 Ghana cedis, you will get 8 high definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. Why choose us? Because we offer top tier quality you can trust, lifetime after-sales support, 2 years warranty, and you can view our systems remotely. Sidinua Peke. Spend less, secure more. Call us on 055 874 0764 and 050 331 4068. Virtual Security Africa. We will beat the advertised price of any security product of comparable quality.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Good morning, Mr. Ding.
Good morning, Ejako. And why do you keep staring at my rubbish container?
I'm surprised you're still using a bin without a cover. You know it can cause a mess.
My bin is just fine. Look, there is no leakage, still solid and robust. If you will excuse me, I have work to do. Yo.
Dustbins are a great way of keeping trash off the street and homes. However, the use of bins without fitting covers pose a challenge with stench from rotten items, flies, and scavengers. Keep the environment clean and healthy. Get dustbins with fitting covers.
Live on 94.1 FM. There are a number of messages that have come in, but time will permit us to do just a few. Alaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, Assalamu alaikum. 1 year of President Mahama in office, so far so excellent. My brother, the coming back of President Mahama to office is a big blessing to this nation, and we must be grateful to Allah Almighty. It is time appreciated the good things that is happening in this country, and Allah Almighty will bless us with more. I am particularly happy because promises that was made to be delivered in 120 days have all been delivered. Taxes are like omission taxes, e-levy, COVID levy, birth tax have all been abolished, and all this money goes directly into the pockets of Ghanaians. And for this alone, we are grateful to President Mahama. The only problem I have is that government should put in more efforts in the fight against Galamsey. A lot has been achieved, but more needs to be done. Galamseyers should not be treated with kid gloves because it is an act of terrorism against the state. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. This one says, good morning to you, Michael. Please let my brother know that the economic indicators are not reflective of market prices. What can be done about this? The dollar is going down, but the prices of sugar, rice, and other essential commodities remain the same on the market. Okay. This one reads, greetings to you and the team from Pakuso Estate. Please tell. This one is not clear. This one says, good morning to you and your panelists. NDC can never explain 24-hour economies. It is on lies, lies, lies. Okay, he did not add the name. This is a very long one. It reads from Tetofo. It says, the New Patriotic Party remains trapped in a cycle of self-delusion following its humiliating defeat in the 2024 elections. The current government is demonstrating a strong sense of maturity in its way of doing things, and that is why the approval ratings of the president are still very high. It says, for the first time in years, fuel prices have dropped in December, easing the burden on millions. Unprecedented human and vehicle traffic is visible in almost all regional capitals, a clear and undeniable indication of widespread enthusiasm and economic movement during this festive period. Canton Issa says, Akosua Menu, great and swift responses to the host and the other man in the studio. Your submissions are always top-notch, and I commend you for that. You've made co-panel very, says, on their own issues, made to Ghanaians proud to the elections. Okay. Akosua, how are things shaping up for January 31 primaries?
A few weeks to go, right?
Yeah, a few weeks.
And I would say the most consistent thing about the primary so far is that all data research shows that our favorite gentleman in the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is in pole position to win the flag bearership position again, because he absolutely deserves it.
Okay.
And in the course of this campaign period, I would say that he's executed a campaign that is most honorable. Okay. He has exemplified what true leadership is and how he conducts himself and how he even engages with his opponents. Most importantly, during the campaign, he's shown that he's a real unifier and that he embraces everyone within the party, no matter where you worship, no matter where you come from, no matter what you do. There are people that in 2024 were not so excited about certain things that had happened, but now they have laid down their grievances, they have made amends, and they are also on board the ship to see victory 31st January. So we are all voting 3, and if you're delegates at home watching me, I trust delegates of the MPP, and they always get it right. They never get it wrong.
Okay.
So Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to, again, lead our great party come 31st January. Let's do it big for him.
Okay. Now, from the camp, how do you manage all these research and the data put out, and then also the prophecies? A friend of mine, after 31st night, mentioned that same God, different prophecies.
You know, usually
different messages.
Yeah, there's been a lot of prophecies,
Yeah.
and you know, one camp has been propagating that celestial beings and prophets are on their side. Angels are on their side. In fact, they make claims which are not easily verifiable by data as far as research is concerned. I just saw something about Calvary Charismatic Church distancing itself from a certain endorsement. But what is clear is every endorsement has, for my camp, has been majorly from people who have a right to vote.
Okay.
On Thursday, 118 parliamentary candidates in the 2024 elections came out to endorse Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Post that endorsement, at least 6 more have called saying they are also part and we should capture them. So I know for sure that the momentum is on our side and we are going to have a very big victory come 31st January. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Akosua Menu, who was the MPP's parliamentary candidate for the Adentan constituency in the 2024 elections. Also special aid to Dr. Bawumia. We also heard from Nat G. Tete, who is Eastern Regional Director, National Service Authority, and member of Government Communications Team.